615. So we're going to begin there with House File 2615 with Senator Busolo. Senator, do you have a subcommittee report?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I sure do. Senator Busolo and Senator Green and Senator Bisignano met on the 16th of March. Senator Busolo, Senator Green both signed off recommending passage, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And you are in order, Senator Busolo, for opening remarks on House File 2615.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Excited to be here and talk about this bill. Iowa Code currently reads that thoroughbred and quarter horse racing season shall be run independently unless mutually agreed upon by associations representing both quarter horse and thoroughbred owners as well as Prairie Meadows. This bill is just intended to clarify what that independently means exactly. Welcome any conversation, questions, or discussion on the bill. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes my opening remarks.
Is there discussion on the bill? Seeing none, Senator Busolo, you are in order for closing remarks on House File 2615.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With that robust discussion, I think I'm just going to move the bill.
Senator Winkler, how would you like to vote? Short form has been requested. All in favor of the passage of House File 2615 will vote aye. Aye. Those opposed will vote no. No. Would you like to be recorded? Senator Winkler, Senator Bisignano, Senator Dray, Senator Townsend, Senator Blake, and Senator Stade are all recorded as noes.
Okay, all the Democrats were noes. Okay.
Yeah. We are now down to one bill on the agenda, which is House File 2694, and I will relinquish the chair to the Vice Chairman, Senator Reichman, at this point.
Thank you, Senator Rosenboom. Senator Rosenboom, do you have a subcommittee report?
I do. The subcommittee of myself, Senator Bisignano, and Senator Schultz recommend passage with Senator Bisignano, sorry about that, declining to sign the subcommittee report.
Senator Rosenboom, you're in order for opening remarks.
House File 2694 is a bill that prohibits the governor from closing, placing a mandate on, or otherwise regulating a place of or practice of worship for any reason, including through the proclamation of a disaster, emergency, or public health disaster. The bill defines a place of worship as a building in which an active congregation is devoted to worship. The bill prohibits a measure dictated in the state of disaster emergency from doing any of the following: from authorizing a change to establish laws, policies, or regulations governing a local, county, or state election for public offices absent prior approval of the General Assembly. Secondly, it prohibits the governor from regulating conduct within a private residence. And thirdly, it prohibits the governor from requiring a vaccination. Measures dictated in a state of disaster emergency that constitutes a public health disaster shall not require, but may recommend, that a private business open or operating within the state cease the business's lawful operations. Those are the opening comments on the bill. There is an amendment.
Senator Rosenboom, there is an amendment. You are in order for opening remarks on committee amendment HF 2694.3538.
Amendment 3538 is the same language as the previously considered Senate File 2461. It creates a new code section which is only to apply to fiscal years for which one or more line item appropriations, standing limited appropriations, or standing unlimited appropriations otherwise limited by law for the immediately preceding fiscal year have not been enacted in an identical provision before July 1 of the fiscal year. If such appropriations are enacted in an identical provision on or after July 1 of the fiscal year, the amendment ceases to apply for the purpose of that appropriation. Status quo funding already expended for the appropriation supplants like amounts later enacted for the fiscal year. There are other provisions of the amendment, but for now I'll limit my opening comments to those comments. I'd be happy to take questions or answer concerns.
Is there discussion on Amendment 3538? Senator, you're in order.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I question the germaneness of this particular amendment. You changed the title of the bill, and it now is dealing with two different subjects. I'd like you to rule on the germaneness of this amendment.
Okay, thank you. And this is a committee, so all amendments are germane, and you are in order. Is there any other additional discussion?
Sure. The reason we are doing this is that when we've asked for germaneness on the floor of a committee amendment that is being placed on a House file, the question has been asked of us, why did we not germane it in committee? We are germaning it in committee to have standing as we move forward,
okay,
because we have made the effort. Generally, two different topics in an amendment, especially when you are changing the title, is not germane. Thank you.
Okay. And with that additional consideration, furthermore, this is all in the consideration of the limiting of powers of the executive, of the governor, so it is ruled germane. Any other discussion? Yes, Senator, you're in order.
Will Senator Rosenboom yield?
Let me scoop there.
Yes.
Thank you. I apologize for not asking this the first time that we had this bill come up in the committee, but what is the genesis? I guess who is asking for this particular amendment?
Well, I can't name a name because I don't have a name. It was a generally a goal of some in our caucus to do this type of thing. Okay. And if I could expand on that just a little, as we witness what goes on in D.C. with 3 government shutdowns in the last few months. One currently underway, partial shutdown. I think we've all remarked, we've all recognized that's not what we do in Iowa, and that's not the place we want to be in. So this is to preclude that type of situation ever arising in Iowa. So we think it makes perfect sense to do that.
Thank you. Since we've already considered this as a standalone, can I ask why it hasn't come to the floor? Like why we're reconsidering it now as an amendment? Is this a process education piece for me?
It was decided earlier not to bring it up to the floor. It's not uncommon for us to publish a tentative. If you look on your bill list every day that it's published, it will be a tentative debate bill schedule. And it was not brought up by leadership. Very common.
Okay, thank you. Has Iowa's government ever shut down?
I'm not aware that it has, no.
Okay.
But I can't say that definitively. I don't know that. I don't remember it happening. But so I want to be careful by stating as fact something that I might learn something new about. So.
Sure. Thank you. It's my understanding that the handful of states that have this kind of policy in place have a Democratic governor and Republican legislatures. I'm finished. Question. Thank you. So in addition to this being an absolute dereliction of duties by the legislature, it further consolidates power for the majority party and eliminates any need for compromise. I have heard absolutely nothing in support of the bill in its original form, and so I'm left to assume that there is no constituent support for this amendment and would urge a no vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional discussion on the amendment? Senator Blake, you're in order.
I think this is my third time now speaking about this bill in committee. Hasn't made it to the floor yet. You'll probably hear me on the floor as well. And each time that I've chatted about this, I've brought up the fact, you brought up earlier, Senator Rosenboom, that we are trying to avoid DC-style politics. To me, this is injecting it in. As Senator Dray said earlier today, or just moments ago, sorry, it is 8 o'clock. There are 4 states in the nation that have this. One is North Carolina, one is Wisconsin, and one is Kansas. All of them have Democratic governors with Republican legislatures. This is not about people. This isn't about some procedure. This isn't worrying about anything. This is blatant politics. A power play by the majority party hedging their bets about a new world that's coming in potentially next year. Because if you ask the average voter, if you ask the average Iowan whether we should pass a law that allows us not to do our job, every single one of them would probably say, no, we elect you to do the job we send you to do. And in the Constitution, the one thing we are supposed to do, the one thing that is prescribed to us as the legislature, is to pass a budget. And we've never, at least to our recollection as well, have ever failed to do that. We have never failed to get our act together and pass a budget. But right now, we're saying we're going to allow that to happen. We are saying to the state of Iowa, we are putting politics over our job. We are putting our inability to compromise and work together above what we need to do here. We have never failed at passing a budget. We have never had that happen. Yet we are worried it's going to happen now. The timing is very, very suspicious. And so I don't know what else I can say. I mean, this bill makes it so you don't have to work with people from a different party or people within your own party. This bill makes it so if we don't want to deal with the fact that we have a massive budget deficit, that if we don't pass our budget, it leaves it to bureaucrats in the state government to do those cuts for us. That is what this does. Why we are doing this, I mean, I think we clearly know why we're doing this. But this is an abdication of our duty as a legislature. We should not pass this, and I strongly recommend to everybody a no vote to make sure that we continue to do our job like the voters of Iowa sent us here to do. Thank you.
Is there additional discussion on the amendment 3538? Seeing none. Oh, Senator Winkler. Pardon me.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I was taught to work until the job was done. And as a senator and as a representative prior to that, that is exactly what I have done. This resolution is an admission that leadership can't do their job, that they don't know how to compromise, that they aren't thinking of Iowans who are struggling to make ends meet, that they aren't committed to balancing a budget, and it shirks their responsibility and makes someone else figure it out. The Department of Management and Legislative Service Agency are not elected to do the job of a senator, yet this resolution shifts the power to them. During the COVID pandemic, we did pass a resolution independently because We weren't sure whether or not we would be in session as the pandemic proceeded. But we have that power individually. We should never be passing a resolution like this as a blanket excuse for doing our job. I hope you vote no on this amendment.
Thank you, Senator Winkler. Is there additional discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, Senator Rosenboom, you're in order for closing comments on the amendment.
Thank you for the discussion. Let's be clear what we're voting on here. All of us have relatively clear memories of the COVID year and some of the activities that took place not only around Iowa, but around the nation and around the world. My daughter lives and lived in Australia during that, where the shutdown was far more severe than it ever was in Iowa and in most of the states, to be honest. It was egregious beyond words. The First Amendment protects several of our rights, including the right to worship. The idea that a governor of either party would prohibit that worship is not acceptable to me. It's not acceptable to many in my party. It's not acceptable to most Iowans. So first and foremost, that's what this bill does. Beyond that, it refers to conduct within a private residence. It deals with, as we saw in some states, changing established laws and policies and regulations. And it also demanded that we receive a vaccine. And we've all recognized the burden that put on people, the inaccuracies of many of those things that we were told were true, were not. And then, because this is an emergency powers bill, the provision to allow state government to continue, a concept which I think most Iowans assume is going to happen. That's how local governments conduct their business. If they can't pass a budget, the status quo budget continues on. So there's a lot of great provisions in this bill. I understand the disagreement. I just respectfully ask for you to consider that you vote for this. And with that, I move the bill. The amendment.
Roll call has been requested. You get this.
Aye.
So this is the amendment?
This
is vote on the amendment. Okay, the vote is 10-8. The amendment does pass. Senator Rosenboom, you're in order for closing comments on...
Comments, sir.
Oh, I'm ahead of myself. Everybody does want to get out of here, right? So back to discussion on the bill as amended. Is there discussion on the bill as amended? Senator Westridge, you're in order.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. within this bill, and as amended, there's some wonderful protections and protections of our rights, our constitutional rights, protection to not be required to take a vaccine that you may not want, for all the reasons you may not want a vaccine. And I really appreciate those parts of this bill. To regulate conduct within your private residence, I think it's an important right to maintain, and so I appreciate that as well. There's so much in this bill that I really agree with, and I just want to explain that because I've been very public about not wanting to be required to do a medical procedure or a vaccine. And so I just wanted to make that statement that I really appreciate that within this bill. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there additional comments on the bill as amended? Seeing Senator Salmon, you're in order.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say also I absolutely support the protections for the freedom of worship and for businesses to conduct their operations. And I support the Fourth Amendment right to refuse a vaccination, medical treatment. And I have advocated for those things for a number of years now. I have put forward bills to reform the disaster emergency powers. We've badly needed that reform. And so this makes it very difficult for me to have to vote no on this bill, but because of the amendment that's on it, I disagree with the amendment for several different reasons that have been mentioned here tonight already. But I'm going to have to vote no because that amendment is on a very, very badly needed and a very good bill. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is there additional discussion on the bill as amended? Seeing none.
Roll call, please.
Okay, roll call has been requested. Okay, the vote is 10-8, so it does pass as amended, and we'll move to the calendar. And I turn the seat back over to Senator Rosenboom.
With that, I thank you all for your patience and your diligence in working on this till the late hours of the evening, and I wish you all have a safe trip home. Thank you, and the Senator Webster moves that we adjourn.